Well, I guess we're live.
Yep. Hi, guys.
Hi, Daddy.
So,
The Exorcist.
what are we here to do today?
Well, first of all, we're the Horror Appraisal, and I'm Sam.
And I'm Evan.
It's nice to have you here.
Good to see you again.
We have no viewers currently, but that's fine. We haven't been really too prevalent, too active on our channel, but we continue.
Busy summer.
We continue to gain subscribers, so that's amazing. We love it.
Yeah.
What have we been doing, Evan?
Well, you know, buddy, there's a reason that we haven't been as busy on the Horror Appraisal. First of all, Sam does all the work for the Horror Appraisal, and Sam's been really busy promoting our film 12 Pole. I say our film, it's Sam's film, and he let me be in it. So.
Well, okay, so this guy gave a really great performance in the movie 12 Pole.
Thank you very much.
He gave a Ted Raimi-like performance as rendered. That description was rendered by Grumpy Andrew. And if you're a horror fan and you follow reviews on YouTube, you know that Grumpy Andrew is one of the most enjoyable review channels around.
He's a really cool guy.
And we have enjoyed a great friendship with him after just meeting kind of like through this. So Evan established himself as a great kind of can-do actor. I'll do whatever I need to do. I'll
basically it. That's all I've got going for me.
So anything you want me to swallow, I'll
Whoa!
A little Beetlejuice.
I'll eat anything I want you to eat.
I'll swallow anything you want me to swallow. That's kind of disgusting.
I'll choke on the dog.
Okay, so he did amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, we got a couple viewers. It's cool.
Sweet.
So yeah, he did amazing and his only purpose was to die in 12 Pole, and that was like, it's obvious. I'm not going to give it away.
It's what I was born to do.
But when you see this guy, you're like, oh, he's fucking dead. So with that being said, he is actually going to be starring in the short film that's coming up that we're doing called Glam.
Pretty excited about it.
We have done it's crazy. We have a big audience with the Horror Appraisal. And we have done a piss poor job of connecting our audience from the Horror Appraisal to the people we're making like movies with. I mean, why have we not done this? Okay, so we make movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to connect the dots, but
now that people are receiving 12 Pole very well, we are unafraid to say that we're doing a short film called Glam, and it steps up everything, and it's violent and shot very well. I think it's going to be.
So far, what he shot of it looks pretty awesome.
I'm not taking credit for that. We've upgraded our equipment, is what I'll say. We've upgraded our camera, our sound equipment. Our crew is very much more attuned to what needs to happen.
Yeah.
We made mistakes at the beginning of 12 Pole, and we had to continue making those to maintain consistency.
Mistakes were made.
To maintain consistency, we had to continue making those same mistakes so that it would look the same.
Sure.
And that is tough when you know better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, this guy, he's going to be playing a really cool character in the upcoming short film, Glam.
Pretty excited.
So that being said, what are we doing right now?
Well, the reason we want to do a video is we just watched the film Winchester, released this year. I'm not really sure when, but it's a new haunting movie. It's based, of course, on true events of the Winchester estate. I want to preface this. I actually first really learned about this story. If you guys are not currently subscribed to a podcast called Lore by Aaron Mahnke, what are you doing? Go out and subscribe to that podcast. He doesn't need me to pitch it. He's got a series on Amazon now, and he also has 2 books out about it. But he did a whole show based on the events of the Winchester house and Sarah Winchester, the heiress of the Winchester Repeating Arms Company.
Yeah. Millions
and millions of dollars who kept building onto this mansion, this house, in a way to sort of trap spirits and everything else. She was very spiritual in that sense.
So there's part of the premise of the movie. Basically, we have a woman who is, she is the primary shareholder of Winchester Repeating Arms Company, and because she's been reporting seeing paranormal things, ghosts and stuff, the other shareholders are...
The members of the board have decided to check her mental stability.
So we enlist the help of a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Who has his own demons.
He definitely
does lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of laudanum.
Can you imagine if they sold laudanum now? I'd never heard of that stuff until the movie Tombstone and Wyatt Earp's
the addiction problem will take care of itself.
Yeah, addicted to it. So one thing I want to say about this movie is I think this movie had a lot of potential. I hope that doesn't give away completely how I feel about it. I feel like this movie could have been, especially the fact that they actually did use the real Winchester estate, the house, for many parts of the film, for a lot of the shots, for a lot of the overhead stuff. So really, a movie about what is conceivably or one of the most, if not the most, haunted place in America. I think that it had a lot of potential, and
it's a great location.
It could have been a lot better. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things that it makes of course, this above any other movie. I've talked many times about how I love it when the house is actually a character.
I'd like to say this.
Okay, go ahead.
The house is so perfect, the location is so perfect, you couldn't possibly fuck this up. But wait.
There's more.
There's more. So let me go ahead and say I thought that the cinematography and the shots in this movie were completely established and beautiful, and they were completely perfect and automated. A cinematographer or a camera crew programmed this in, and they got the camera shots looking beautiful.
Sure.
The apertures, lined everything out on the background, and everything that was supposed to be great was great. And we saw all these wonderful wide-angle shots that were, captured the whole of the hallways. The reason that the whole hallway's in focus is because he was a wide angle. Mm-hmm. All that was beautiful.
Yeah, it was excellent. I agree with my buddy here. Excellent cinematography of the film. I thought it was a very beautiful film because it was kind of a period piece. It takes place at the turn of the century. It takes place in 1906. So already we're thrown back in a different time. We're not quite back in Victorian England or anything like that, but we're at a time of opulence and very wealthy. So of course this movie portrays all of that in a wonderful manner. Really, I mean it really did. I thought set design was great. Yeah. I hate to go in these little minutia of a movie, but if we're talking about a period piece movie where we have to talk about the set design and the costumes, the clothing, and whatnot and what have you. I mean, it was beautiful. I would love to have lived in that house if I would just know that it wasn't haunted as heck. So
well, let me just say this: you look at a location like this, and you immediately think these hallways, the rooms, the dark corners of this place are beautiful and just you could backlight any character walking down a hallway, and it's automatically scary. It doesn't matter who it is. You don't light their front. You make sure that it's just a silhouette, and you backlight them, and they're frightening. That didn't happen one time in this movie. Mm-hmm. And Winchester marketed itself as a horror film, right? Am I wrong?
No. It's absolutely marketed itself as a horror film. It's a freaking ghost story about a haunted house. Yes, it's a horror film.
Okay, so every time we saw a ghost, we saw every bit of their appearance, correct?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It didn't leave a lot. It definitely.
That's
I don't know what to say. It blew its load like in every shot. Left nothing to the imagination, I guess.
From the moment the psychiatrist enters the home, cabinets start rattling. A little metal piece on the desk shakes and rattles.
Sure.
He goes to his room, and all of a sudden he sees a CG augmented face of a boy when he tilts a mirror, and it's a jump scare, and it doesn't follow. It doesn't follow that rule that was kind of set by Jaws, actually, by Steven Spielberg in that respect. The rule is, if you're going to do a jump scare with music, you have some music kind of flowing. You have a theme, and then you scare. Because you lull.
But at the beginning of Jaws, you didn't see the shark either. You just saw the chick flailing about, screaming because some monster has her.
That's a totally other issue. I'm talking about jump scares.
Oh, okay, my bad.
As far as a jump scare, you want to kind of lure somebody into a false sense of security by providing the main theme of the movie, or a theme, and kind of making it kind of subdued and down here low, and then you rise up and then you scare. You hypnotize people. Yeah. That's how that works. But you don't. As soon as you have silence and then you have a false scare every maybe 4 times.
It's very formulaic. Yeah, usually. It was like 3 times with the mirror.
We even said it. We were like, "Oh, it's coming on this, next turn," and it was like 2 more turns later, and it's like, God bless, we wasted a minute. On this, and it wasn't scary.
When you pack your movie, it's kind of like, I understand building suspense, but when you pack the minutes of your movie with so much waiting, it kind of just becomes too cheap. This is my honest opinion of the movie. just because I didn't want to, I didn't have too much to say. I think this is a movie that would have been done much better had it been made by American International Pictures in the '60s, like with the same location, everything. But
and they didn't have all the fancy tools, and they had to be ingenuitive.
That's true.
Is that the right word?
I don't know if that's a word or if you just invented one, but I think everybody gets the gist.
They had to be creative.
There you go. But I think it would have been. I think it's a film that should have been made 40 years ago. I think it could have been scarier then.
It would have been scary as hell. I think it was.
Yeah, because I think the premise of the movie and the ideas of the movie are very scary. But of course, because they're following the formula of what makes a hit horror film today, I think a lot of it fell very flat. If they'd made this movie with Vincent Price back in the '60s from AIP, it would have been great.
I wanted to like this movie so much.
Me too.
The whole time, this beautiful house and super clean cinematography were leading up to something very scary. And then we get to that point where it's supposed to be. They went with an action. They went with action instead of horror.
Boy, they did. Really at the end of the film, they do kind of go for more of an action-oriented thing. I don't know if that's the right way to put it or not, but it wasn't scary.
It was quick cuts. It was not. You didn't have prolonged shots on anything. And the reason why you wouldn't have a prolonged shot on something is because you don't believe in it. Because it's nothing but an actor with some makeup, but enhanced by CG.
I do want to bring up one point about this movie.
Go for it.
And honestly, I was thinking, but you kind of voiced it at me first, so I don't want to take it because you're the one who first said this.
Point it out.
I'm sitting here watching this movie, and it's all about.
We lost the viewer.
It's all. Oh no.
It's fine. Be mad.
It's about all the people that have been killed by Winchester rifles, and I'm thinking this is just a big anti-gun Hollywood movie.
Well,
and then 20 minutes go by, Sam's like, this is just an anti-gun movie. I was like, yeah, it is. So, whatever.
I was trying to leave that out of my mind, and it's whatever.
It just becomes, the thing is, I was too. It just becomes so obvious.
I think whether I'm for or against is not the issue. It's that I don't want that.
I didn't say I wasn't. Yeah, that's the point. I just don't need that statement.
But I don't necessarily know that it was completely obvious.
And maybe they weren't going for it, but I mean, we were both sitting there and independently thinking it before one of us pointed it out.
I mean, we live in a time right now where every political issue is kind of a thing, but that aside,
and we can always leave that stuff out of our movies and our reviews. So,
with everything that goes on in this, we were trying to kind of figure out what was going on, and it was kind of easy to nail down. I mean, you've got to. I'm not going to spoil it, but. Honestly, the plot isn't that hard to figure out if you really think about it. It starts off and tells you what's going to happen.
Yeah, I do want to say, the only thing I'm going to say about the plot and not give specifics is, and you thought the same thing, we both didn't really like the ending of the film, how the main antagonist spirit was thwarted. It was a little cheesy, and not in a good way. Because we have a tolerance for cheese, but this was a bit much.
In horror, I think that a real horror fan, and I'm not, never mind, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that...
I was like a real horror fan.
I want to say, I'm going to choose my words carefully.
Okay.
I want to say that a lot of horror fans that have been around horror really appreciate the era of the 70s and 80s with the practical effects, things that existed on camera, because I think that it's on some level, you can go in and watch a movie and look and be like, okay, yeah, that existed.
Yeah.
It's fakey looking, but it existed in front of a camera. Somebody pointed it and shot, and that's what we're seeing. When we think about the ending of this movie, and we think about a bunch of computer-generated rifles floating in the air and shooting...
You're giving it away!
They're floating in glass that's computer-animated, and then destroying a spirit because his baghead Jason, essentially. You shoot him with a relic that he...
Shoot her!
Jesus. I'm
sorry.
And when it happened, I was just like... I literally stood... I've not done this very often. I usually give a movie a benefit of doubt, and I try to...
He does. He's way... I don't mean he's easy to please, but I'm usually way more critical of a movie. He's much nicer. He is.
I literally stood up and put my hands on my head, and I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, fuck this.
It was like, ooh, boy. This is not good.
And I understand why people would be drawn to Winchester.
I mean,
for
we
this-
rented it. So.
For the same reason they were drawn to Last Jedi. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's shot so beautifully.
Sure. There's some eye candy.
It is soulless. It is it is a very beautiful thing that doesn't have any character.
It's an empty shell.
It is.
It's like a Fabergé egg.
And
There's nothing on the inside.
That is not to take away from the performance of the actors.
No, they did a good job. Helen Mirren was in this film. Helen Mirren played Sarah Winchester, and honestly, I think honestly Helen Mirren might have been one of the best things about the film.
The actors are not responsible for what happens in post production, and this movie was a post production.
Helen Mirren would have to really screw up a movie for me to not like Helen Mirren. So, you know. But anyway, that's really all I got. If you got to see Winchester, then go see it. If you don't got to see it,
any memorable music moments?
No. There, like I said, that's all I had to say about it. There's nothing really. I'm going to go to sleep tonight, and in the morning, I'm going to halfway remember this movie. In 3 days, I'm going to remember nothing about this movie. It didn't stand out to me in any way.
And in 10 years, you're going to be like, hey, you want to see Winchester? I forgot about that.
Have I seen that?
And I'm like, dude, no, dude, it sucked.
That's typically how it goes. I'll see a movie like, have we seen that? Like, yeah, don't you remember we watched that 11 years ago?
And you threw Dark Craving across the room with the CD. He's cracking.
I did do that once.
You paid $30 for it. You cracked
paid $30 for that movie, and I threw it across the room. That was like 15 years ago. Anyway.
So I don't know if you guys have given us any comments or typed anything. I don't know if we haven't done YouTube Live since the new format. If you haven't commented, that's cool. I mean, maybe you feel.
I don't care. It's okay.
Either you feel the same way, or you are unsubscribing from us right now. And my hope is that you guys will look at this film as a horror fan, and you will demand that people use their minds and less of their technology.
Yeah, that's all we want.
There's a. I'd like to bring this comparison in. There was a musician, a producer recently. I read an interview with him. I don't remember who it was. There's a comment.
Sorry.
I have not seen this. Oh God, we just totally spoiled it for you, Jessica.
Well, anyway.
Shout out to the podcast that Jessica Feeney does. It's the Resurrection Zombie podcast.
Oh, okay.
They have a long-standing podcast that's it's a very good. They've primarily done series of movies and they actually I reviewed Gutterballs with them.
Oh, I remember that now.
Yeah, it was a good time. What was I saying?
I don't know.
Oh, I was going on the musician.
Music. Okay, sorry.
Okay. So music is much the same. Now I do not want to see it. He rented it for like $5, something like that.
$5 or $6, but I mean, like, you rent a movie off of a streaming service. At least it does you. Even though you wasted $5 or $6, it's not like you went to the movies and bought popcorn and a drink and spent $20. So I don't care to waste. If I waste $5 or $6 renting a movie, it's nothing to me, because then at least I didn't go out and, like, remember back in the day before streaming services and there's a movie that came out,
hey,
like,
we saw G.I. Joe.
Let's go. It's like, let's go buy the DVD immediately when it comes out and waste $20.
And you get it home and you're like,
oh, this movie sucks. So
I don't want to break this because I invested in it, but damn, I want to break this.
Yeah.
But back to the music reference.
Sorry.
Okay, so this guy found that he was far more creative when he removed almost every synthesizer that he had available to him except for one. And he was forced to use every setting on that one synthesizer, and he found that he was able to come up with way more creative stuff.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Now
that makes sense.
With movies, yes, you have to go to school to understand and program all the fancy things on the camera rigs, and you have to have a crew that knows what it's doing. But do you spend
who says?
Do you spend so much time worrying about the shot and not about your content?
Yeah.
Tom Savini spoke to us directly and said it is not about the equipment you have, it's about what's in front of the camera. Yeah. Would you rather watch Evil Dead, who was shot on shit and looks like shit, or this, Winchester?
I'd rather watch Evil Dead. There is no comparison.
It looks like crap, and it's amazing, and I love it.
Yeah.
Evil Dead is amazing. And it doesn't matter if it was shot on the most beautiful, technologically advanced camera hardware. One camera costs $80,000 plus Evil Dead. There you go. Exactly. I mean, who cares if a shot is crystal clear if the content is shit?
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, you got anything to add?
No, I'm good. I think we've talked about Winchester all we can. We use this film really as a vehicle just for an opinion about, well, everything that this guy just said. So,
final closing remarks. How did you feel about did you feel about Winchester?
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it to people. I mean, I've seen it. That's it. Honestly, it's a very forgettable film. It's a story that is much more interesting than the film that was produced about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it.
I hated it.
I've seen better.
It made me mad. Anyway, those of you that tuned in, we appreciate that very much.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's Saturday night. You know, some people do have lives. Maybe they're doing something.
Well, people will see it after it uploads.
Oh, yeah.
And we are not under the illusion that we know better because we're filming with an iPhone currently.
Right.
I've got my other camera out in the truck.
Right.
But we know horror, and
yeah,
some of you all do too. The people looking this up know horror. You all probably have your own review channels. So
yeah, that's. So, Winchester, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. I'm Evan.
I'm Sam.
You're going to be hearing from us again very soon.
We're looking forward. We've got them recorded. Look forward to 1991 and 1992 top 5 horror films.
All right. Well, you guys have a great night.
Thank you, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
How do I end this?
Okay. You can do it.
I'm just going to pull this here.
Okay.
And we're going to figure out how to end this.
Just press stop.
Do you see a stop button?
I don't see a stop button.
Do I just hit X? Somebody help me. We've not done live on YouTube.
Because if you hit X, it can't cancel it, right? I mean,
somebody tell us.
Oh
somebody
God.
tell us.
This
Somebody
is
tell
so
us.
Embarrassing. This is not my fault. I mean, just hit X.
Just hit X.
Just hit X.
Just swipe.
Shit. Just hit X.
Okay, X.
Yes. Stop.